Hi everyone. So today we are going to start doing some research for our research writing on that entrepreneur that you picked yesterday. So again, you should have picked one of those 5 entrepreneurs. And so today you are going to see this research guide under classwork in your Google Classroom. And for this, you can print this off, or you can just type directly on this document. I did not add any text boxes, so if you are going to type, we're going to have to add some text boxes, and I'll show you how to do that. So I do want to tell you this video is going to be a little long, but I don't want you to watch all of it today. We're going to break this up over the rest of this week. So you definitely don't have to watch this whole video. Just watch the parts that pertain to the specific day's assignment. So like today, we're going to look at maybe finding a fun fact for this Did You Know? We're also going to look for where our entrepreneur was born, and what date, what kind of family life they had, and what kind of education they received. And then tomorrow, you will look for some facts about their early years, any personal characteristics of that entrepreneur, and their accomplishments. Again, this is going to be a long video, so feel free to watch what you need to watch to kind of help you start your research, and then come back to it throughout the week. So, the first thing that we need to do is we need to put the name of our entrepreneur, and I've actually already added that onto mine. But if you didn't, that's okay. I will show you how to add a text box in just a minute. So I'm actually going to model this with you, and I'm going to model with Walt Disney, okay? So what I need to do is I need to now go and look up facts about Walt Disney. So there's a couple cool websites, which I will link them in the bottom of this video, but also I will link them either in the plan for today or back on that entrepreneurship sheet from yesterday. I'll just go and link these. These are 2 really good websites that I like to use and that are very kid-friendly. So you won't necessarily have to have any help finding these. So the first website I'm going to use is called Fact Monster, and all I'm going to do is up here in the search bar, I'm going to type Walt Disney, and it actually has come up. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to click search. And now, as you can see, it is displaying 1 of 10 results. So I'm going to scroll through. And this second one looks like it might help me, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And it's going to come up. And I can see the year that he was born, and his birthplace was Chicago, Illinois. So I'm going to come back over to my research guide, and for born and date location, so I need to add a text box over here. So all I'm going to do is this T with a box on it, it says text box. I'm going to click this. And then my cursor is now a little plus sign. I'm going to click and drag so I can add a text box. And he was born in let's just double check this, 01 in Chicago, Illinois. Okay, so that's going to help us where he was born and the location. Now let's see if I can answer anything about family life or his education from this one. So let's see. Invented the multiplane camera, and so I can't answer anything about his family life or his education, but I do see down here that he died in 1966, so I am going to go and add this. I know it doesn't ask you to, but I'm going to add that. He died in 1966. And for this Did You Know box, I do want to add something there because that's going to be like our fun fact or our hook to kind of draw the readers in, we could use that as the hook. So I'm going to put that in 1937, he invented the multiplane camera. So again, I've got to add a text box. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to click and drag, just like that. And I'm going to put in 1937, Walt Disney invented the multiplane camera. And I also am going to add what that does. And so we see that this advanced camera created 3D dimensional effects by giving the illusion of depth. So this camera added, and I just want to make sure I'm getting this wording right, 3-dimensional depth, or 3-dimensional effects, effects by giving the illusion of depth. So I'm going to use that as a fun fact, but I still need to find out his family life and his education. So this one doesn't tell me anything about that, so I could go back and I could look through some of these other websites that have come up, but I also want to show you another website that I like to use, and it's actually called Kids Search. And as you can see, I've already put Walt Disney biography in the search bar. I'm just going to hit go, and let's see what comes up. So we can see that a bunch of different biographies and things are coming up. So let's see what information this one can give us. So then this takes us to a website called Ducksters. Oh, and look, I can add more specifics because this website actually gives us some more specifics on his birthday and when he died. So he was born December 5th, 1901. So I'm going to actually add that to when he was born. And then again, I'm going to add that he died on December 15th. And of course, like if you need to, like I'm going to change the sizing of this text just a little bit so it all kind of fits in there and I can read it. So now let's see if we can find anything about his family life or his education. So this is going to, like, we'll see we have some headings that might help us. So we see his full name, Walter Elias Disney. He was born on December 5th, 1901. And when he was 4, his family moved to a farm in Marceline, Missouri. He enjoyed living on the farm. And he'd had 3 older brothers and a younger sister. And it was in Missouri, Marceline, Missouri, that he developed his loving for drawing and art. And then after 4 years, he moved to Kansas City, where he continued to draw. That's a cool fact. He even traded his drawings for the local barber for free haircuts. Alright, so let's look at some of his early life. That could help us fill in some of this family life and this, even down here, these early years. That could help us fill that in too. So, about the time Walt was entering high school, his family moved to the big city of Chicago. He took classes at the Chicago Art Institute and drew for the school newspaper. When he was 16, Walt decided he wanted to help fight in World War I. Since he was still too young to join the army, he dropped out of school and joined the Red Cross, and he spent 6 years driving ambulances for the Red Cross in France. Okay, so I can actually add some of this to that early years category. Again, I know that's not specifically what we're looking for today, but because I've already found it, I'm just going to go ahead and add it. So again, I'm going to come over here, I'm going to add a text box, and it gave you bullet points. However, feel free to just add your own like I'm going to do. So I'm going to do a little symbol. And then let's see. I'm going to put that he moved to Chicago when his family moved to Chicago when he was 16. Let's see. I can add that he took art classes at the Chicago Art Institute. And he wanted to help fight in World War I, but because he wasn't old enough, he joined the Red Cross. And again, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so it all kind of fits in that box. Okay. So let's continue on. So we see his work as an artist and then his early animation skills. And we can add like accomplishments. For that, we're talking about what did they do? What were they able to build? What did they accomplish, right? So, we can talk about, for accomplishments, some of the movies he's made and what he did. And then, so like this would be like his work as an artist. We would of course want to include the early films such as Steamboat Willie and the Silly Symphonies, Flowers and Trees, and then of course Snow White. Because that was his first full-length animated film. So we would want to add these things over here in accomplishments. And you want to add enough detail because we're going to use this graphic organizer to help us write our research paper. So you want to add enough detail so that you're able to construct your paper. And you don't have to go back and re-look things up. So I'm going to put that, I'm going to put some stuff about his early animation, and that he did Steamboat Willie, which starred Mickey and Minnie. And then he had further success with the cartoon Silly Symphonies and the first color animated film Flowers and Trees. And I did not, Silly Symphonies, and the first color animated film. And again, I'm going to go ahead and make this font smaller so I can continue typing and we can read it. And I of course, want to mention Snow White in 1932. Well, I could put that he wanted to, in 1932 he had the idea, but if we read further down, it actually wasn't released till 1937. So in 1937, Snow White was released and went on on to be a huge box office success. And then, of course, I want to keep going further down. And you could, of course, add some more stuff about your person as well. This is just kind of a guide. You do want to add enough to get a whole paper. So you might fill this graphic organizer up, and you might have to take notes on another sheet of paper, or even on the back if you've printed this. If you're typing on it, feel free to add another slide and just continue taking some notes. That is perfectly fine. So of course, for Walt Disney, I would want to add something about Disneyland, because I mean, that's what we know. And as we can see, Disneyland, he had the idea to create a theme park with rides and entertainment based on his movie, and that Disneyland opened in 1955. So that is important, and I do want to put that under his accomplishments. So in 1955, Disneyland opened. Okay, and then it tells us how much it cost to build and that it was a huge success. And then even later, he had the plan for Walt Disney World in Florida, but unfortunately he did die before that was finished. But we could put that the park was opened in 1971. So 1971, Walt Disney World opened in Florida. Okay, so this site's really cool because it'll actually let you listen to this. And something else that I did want to mention, it's up here, it's talking about his education. So he took art classes at the Chicago Art Institute. I could also add that over here under education, right? So I could add myself another text box. And over here, he took art classes at the Chicago Art Institute. So I know I put it under early years, but I think it's going to fit better in education. So I'm actually going to move this and just take this part out. And that's fine. Sometimes, like, as you're researching things, you find new things and you think things are going to fit in a better category. Again, this kind of graphic organizer is just for us to organize our thoughts and get them all in similar categories so that when we go to write our paper next week, we kind of have an idea of things already being grouped together, so we're not having to worry about that as well. So again, we would want to go and find some personal characteristics, so like their personality, how were they, right? And so I could always put, for personal characteristics, it says he was always coming up with new ideas. So that kind of characteristic would be creative, because if you're coming up with new ideas, you've got to be creative. So he was very creative. And then to create a whole company and all these movies and cartoons, he had to be dedicated. And this article doesn't really tell us that, but we can make that inference because anyone who chooses to be an entrepreneur is going to be dedicated to what they're doing. So he had to put in a lot of hard work. Because see, look, even over here, up here, it's talking about his failure, and it even tells us that one failure was not going to stop him. Okay? So he had a lot of perseverance. Right? And do you think he would have to be determined as well to be able to do all this and not just completely give up? And that kind of goes along with perseverance. So he was very determined to make his dreams come true. And then family life. Again, we want to talk about this. He did move with his brother to make that Disney Studios. So for family life, I'm actually going to come back up here when he's talking about where did he grow up. And I'm going to put that he has 3 older brothers and a younger sister. So again, I've got to come up here and add a text box. Younger sister. And then I do want to try to find if he was married. So, and it might not be in this one. We might have to do some searching and some digging. Oh, but look, it's down here in the interesting facts. He was married to Lillian Bounds, and they had a daughter in 1933 and adopted another daughter. So I'm going to put that. Married. He married Lillian Bounds. And had a daughter in 1933. Then and it doesn't tell us the year that he adopted his other daughter, so then later they adopted another daughter. So again, I'm going to make this text a little bit smaller so we can read it in this text box. Again, if you're writing, really shouldn't be too much of an issue. And of course, again, if you run out of room, feel free to just add another slide. You just have to come up here to this plus sign, and that's going to add a new slide after this one, just like this. And it'll come up, and you can change these text boxes and continue typing. Okay, one more thing is our works cited. This just kind of means like we have to give credit to where we get our information because we did not create this information. We are not the original owners. So all we're going to do for our works cited is you're going to need to add a text box. Okay, I'm just going to add one big one up here. And all we're going to do is I need to cite this article that I've used. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click on my link, and then I'm going to, so it like highlights, I'm going to right click on my mouse, and then I'm going to hit copy. Okay, then I need to come back to my slide, and I'm going to right click on my mouse again, and I'm going to hit paste. And that's going to paste that website in there so we can give credit to the original authors. And I also need to cite this source, which I used this second link. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. Well, I'm going to click and highlight my website. I'm going to right click on my mouse. I'm going to hit copy. And then I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to add a new text box and just insert this new text box. And then in this text box, I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit paste. And again, there is my works cited. So, feel free to come back to this video as much as you need. This week, we're going to be working on research all week. So, don't worry. If you do print this out, though, send a picture to your teacher just so they can kind of make sure you're on the right track. And if you end up typing on it, just turn it in at the end of the week just so we can see and just make sure you're on the right track so we can help guide you through this research project. All right? I hope you have a great rest of your week. Come back to this video as you need.